Welcome to episode 197 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It is Tuesday, people. Tuesday, the 23rd of March, 2021. And I've had quite a good week so far, man. I have been hammering through the Line of Duty. I don't know if anybody else is watching it at the minute on BBC iPlayer. Little bit of a plug for the old fucking BBC there. But yeah, I am fucking loving it at the minute. So, and it's meant to be the culmination of everything. This is it. This is where we get to find out who H is, allegedly. So I've been fucking hammering it through there. Anyone who's not seen it, anyone from abroad or anything like that who can't get hold of it or whatever, I pity you people. It's all Line of Duty over here at the minute. It's all right. It drags. They do drag it out a bit. They seem to be dragging out like the interviews and shit like that a little bit, like in this series. But and the old addiction to prescription drugs. I don't know that Arnott's got or whatever, but I'm loving it. I love anything like that. Any sort of like policey, sort of like investigation-y series. I quite appreciate that. Also, I have so basically this is my excuse that I've been basically sitting on my ass watching TV for the last few days. So it's nice to get into the real world of podcasting again. If this is a real world, who knows? Who knows? My fucking headphones again are fucking up on as they were on the last episode. That's a little bit better. Can hear a bit better. I don't know. I cover over my stuff, so I've obviously kinked the fucking the knob. Kink the knob. That's not a great phrase to say in 2021, is it? Anyway, so I've been watching that, and I watched F1 Drive to Survive. If anybody isn't watching that, it sort of like gives an insight into Formula One and all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and shit. So I've got fucking hiccups now. So it's pretty in depth, sort of like shit, and you get to find out all the little sort of like niggles between people and all the little spats going on and what's happening with the teams and stuff like that. I've always been quite a bit of a fan of Formula One and always tried to catch them on TV. One year I actually, because I live quite close to Silverstone, by the way, for people out there, it's not Silverstone. If you're a fucking local, it's Silverstone. So I worked there on one of the race days years ago. One weekend, like basically it was like parking up the cars and shit like that. It was fucking, I remember it being bliss. It was one of these summers. It was a summer holiday job in between. I think it was in between doing my GCSEs and my A levels. So you get that long summer where you have your last exam, sort of like May, June time. I think my last exam was, and then you've got the whole of the summer to fill until you go back to school in September to start your A levels, or you used to anyway. We always used to seem to get like ages and ages for a summer holiday, and now they get about 2 weeks, I think, something like that. No, I think it's like 6 weeks they get. Is it something like that now? I don't fucking know. This is the thing that you lose when you don't actually have kids. I have no idea when the fucking summer holidays are. I have no idea when the half-term holidays are. Christmas holidays, obviously, that's pretty obvious, but I've got no idea the specific dates. So these are all things that I don't have to give a fuck about because I don't have kids. I can go on holiday whenever the fuck I want to. I can, you know, like that's, I know there's nobody going to be there crowded around my bed when I die, but assuming it is in bed, there may be a group of people, you know, crowded around me when I die, causing my death. Who knows? That is the that is the wonder of life, people, right there. But yeah, I have no idea when the summer holidays are. But like that, you get a long summer holiday. Anyway, back to the point. You get a long summer holiday. Like after you do your GCSEs, you do your last exam, and then literally you sort of like break up. We used to anyway, and you sort of like just fuck off. And then I got a job that summer because you're like 16, you can start working. So I got a job like that summer. I think doing like events and things like that. So like parking up cars, doing security for events and shit like that. And one of the events was down at Silverstone, doing the Grand Prix. That was pretty cool. It was actually the year. It must have been I finished my GCSEs 95, so it must have been Silverstone 19 Grand Prix. Let's have a look. I just make sure I've got the dates right. 95 was it? I'm sure it was Damon Hill who came off, like because I was parking at the cars and shit like that. Yeah, I'm sure it was Damon Hill who came off. And it was like Michael Schumacher won it, I think. Oh no, or did they both come off? Or yeah, they crashed. Yeah, they crashed. Yeah, that was it. And I think it happened in Cops Corner Grandstand, or yeah, whatever. Anyway, what I was saying was I worked there. We were parking at cars. You do the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday. So like the Friday is like practice or whatever. The Saturday is the qualifying, and then the Sunday is the actual race. I did the Friday and the Saturday, and then got a bit pissed off with parking cars up. And what they do, they give you they used to anyway. They used to give you like a lanyard with a security badge, and it could get you in fucking anywhere. So on the Sunday, I remember you camp over the weekend. So I got up on the Sunday, and then there's like a minibus thing that takes you around the circuit to where you're gonna work. And I just didn't get on the minibus with one of my mates who was working, and we fucked off and went through, walked down the pit lanes, and then eventually got to like one of the grandstands. I think it was Cops Corner Grandstand. And the guy, this was before a time of mobile phones, people, so nobody could check what you were doing. Nobody, somebody was appointed to that grandstand, and they had to stand there all day, and they only got to go off it or whatever, because they were meant to be marshals for the stand or whatever. They only got to get off it to go for a piss and shit like that. So we went down there, said that we'd been sent down as extra fire marshals, and that we needed to stand at the front. And we stood at the front of the grandstand and watched the fucking Grand Prix. It was fucking amazing. Not that you can really tell that a lot is going on without, we didn't have like the earpiece fucking like Silverstone radio or listening to it or whatever, and the cars just fucking zip by. But we got pretty much like one of the best views you can get at Silverstone on one of the most most famous, one of the most famous stands there. So it was pretty good. And then the worst thing was we had to get the minibus back into Northampton, like at the end of the day. And the guy questioned us of where we'd been, and we said we were sent by other people to to go to somewhere else, and he kind of believed us, and we were a bit worried about not getting a lift back into Northampton and being stuck out in Silverstone, but it all fucking worked out, baby. Yeah, so that is my work ethic there, right there. If I can get away with doing fuck all, I will do so, people. But anyway, I've been watching The Drive to Survive, and I'd completely forgot about Roman Grosjean's fucking crash he had, where he's just like the horror of that fucking fireball. If you've never seen it, Google it. Roman Grosjean crash, and it was at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it was just a fucking fireball. And I remember watching it and thinking, he's fucking dead. But the thing was, it was flicking between, like, on the coverage, it was like flicking between different things. But when you watch it, if you watch a YouTube version of it or whatever, you think he's got to be fucking dead out of there. It's just like his car's in half, goes straight through the barrier. His car's in half, and you just think he's going to be he's a fucking dead man. And suddenly you just see his helmet pop out and fucking walk out. It's fucking unbelievable, man. It needed, like, you know what I mean? The old BBC should have fucking just shoved on a bit of Rocky music because he fucking lifted up out of there. I don't know, but it was, yeah, it was, it's a fucking great series. I would thoroughly recommend, sort of, like, if you're into like Formula One or motorsport or anything like that. It's just like a behind the curtain view of that fucking mental world of rich bastards. But it was, yeah, I've been enjoying that. I've been enjoying Line of Duty this week. So it's been TV wise this week. I've fucking smashed it out of the park, man. Smashed it out the park. Everything else is dipped. Let's have a look at some of the bits that have been going on in the fucking world, people. This is one thing I saw, and I just thought, oh shit, here we go, baby. Oh baby. Vladimir Putin has drawn up a new kill list of opponents. You've got to be a bit, you know, I know maybe I'm naive or whatever, but I couldn't imagine someone like the Queen drawing up a kill list. You've got to be a little bit, you know, megalomaniac to have a kill list in the future, let alone draw up a new one, as this says. I imagine the Queen completed her kill list in the late 90s anyway, to be perfectly honest, didn't she? In 97, although that may be coming back now after the old Oprah interview. Anyway, yeah. So Vladimir Putin has drawn up a kill list with 6 targets living in the UK. The Kremlin strongman. That makes him sound like some sort of circus act from the 19th century, doesn't it? You know what I mean? The Kremlin strongman, and he's got like the handlebar moustache and that. You know, the old style weights that they all have in the fucking, you know, with the balls on the end, with like 100 kilos in, you know. It makes him sound like one of those, but he's planning a post-pandemic assassination campaign. Oh, fucking, well, you know. We're all making plans after the pandemic, aren't we? No scum can hide from us, a Russian intelligence officer warned one of the targets. If you're one of the targets, you would, not eat out, wouldn't you? You know, if I was a target of Vladimir Putin's new hit list, and why wouldn't I be? Why wouldn't I be? Yeah? I'm bringing truth to the world, people. You know what I mean? If I was a target on that list, I would never go to a restaurant again. I'd always be seen in public with somebody else. I would always have a witness on hand, possibly walking behind me about 10 meters behind me and constantly filming, just in case somebody, you know, give me a James Bond sort of like jab, you know, kick me with a knife that flicked out of their shoe or something like that. Just so it's all on. You don't want to end up like that Litvinenko guy. That's what I'm saying. You know, there's nothing worse than ending up with a hospital bed completely bright yellow with no air saying it was Vladimir Putin. He should be a warning to everybody. Russian agents have been accused of attempting to kill former KGB officer turned defector Sergei Skripal and his daughter. That was the Novichok thing. They love killing the people over here, I tell you. People in the UK, they seem to defect from Russia to the UK and then be killed. And then there was the Litvinenko thing. Now other Russians living in the UK are also put on Putin's hit list. Also being targeted a long-time Kremlin foe, Bill Browder, an American-born UK citizen, and Christopher Steele, a former MI6 officer. Steele was identified in 2017 as the author of the dirty dossier that claims Russia collated a file of compromising information on Donald Trump. I wouldn't be at all surprised. You know, if they're poisoning people in wherever it was, near Gloucestershire or whatever, then I'm sure they're not above compiling a dossier on Donald Trump and fucking, you know, doing a bit of underhand fucking wheeling and dealing just to try and bribe him or whatever. You might as well, if you're on that list, you might as well, you know, ring up your family, ring up your friends, and you know, say I'm probably going to stay in for a bit. Just wait for this all to Shaun of the Dead blow over. That's it, isn't it? That's all you could do, isn't it? Unless you venture out in one of those giant bubble things, you know, those orb things that people go down hills in and stuff like that. That's the only way you can venture out. That's how you spot them, isn't it? You spot anybody going around like that, they're either orbing or they're on Vladimir Putin's hit list. The thing about this story, though, is he hasn't even denied it. He hasn't even Jesus. I just looked at a picture of one of them. Boris Karpichkov is also reportedly targeted by the Kremlin. He looks like fucking Dr. Evil out of Austin Powers. He looks like that. He's sitting on a park bench. He looks like he's killed people already, let alone be on a hit list for himself. What did he not do? Not kill enough people for Putin? Is that it? Putin tried to kill Navalny with Novichok, and anyone on Putin's hit list, including me, must take precautions. Putin is not constrained by any moral or geographical boundaries. He is a bit of an odd one, Vladimir Putin, isn't he? He always, you know, the riding with a shirt off on a horseback and shit like that, you know what I mean? He's like definitely got some sort of, because he doesn't look that tall, you know what I mean? He looks quite a small guy. Putin height, let's have a look. How tall is he? The world's tallest and smallest world leaders, statesmen. Who is the shortest world leader? Oh, fucking hell. President of Mexico was reportedly the shortest world leader, standing at 4'6". Jesus. Anyway, 170 centimeters high. How much is that? cm to feet. 5'6", is that? Something like that, 5.5 foot? I don't know. Yeah, anyway, yeah, so he's 100 and... Yeah, that's not very tall at all, is it? I'd fucking knock him out, man. Like, if you got a chance, you'd get nowhere fucking near him, would you? 5 foot... Yeah, nearly 5'7", so yeah, he's tiny. Not that I'm massive, people, but... But yeah, that's definitely quite short, isn't it? He's got that sort of like Napoleonic sort of. Although that's meant to be a fallacy, isn't it? That Napoleon was actually, like average height for the age because people who were shorter back then. There we go, people. Bit of info. Yeah. So yeah, if you're on his hit list, thank you for listening and goodbye. Let's have a little bit of tea. It's been also as well this week. It's a year since all the lockdowns started and stuff like that. It doesn't seem like a year. You know what I mean? I don't think I've used this time wisely, people. You know what I mean? I just don't think I've used it as I should. There's people out there who have done everything. I've seen people like fat people now are fucking ripped to shit. You know what I mean? And if anything, I've gained more weight. I'm less fit than I was, and I've done less writing in the last month than I ever have done. I think it's because we're meant to be coming to the end of it now, so we've got there's hope, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope, and I think that's why I've been a bit lazy lately. But that's going to have to change, people, because it looks as though everything will start opening up in June here. Now all the oldies are getting their jabs and shit like that, and my own jab, I don't know, it could be, they reckon it's going to be within about the next 4 to 6 weeks, so we'll see. We'll see when that comes along. I will talk about one thing. This is one thing that's happened this week. Hang on, I'm going to need a cup of tea for this because this will get me in shit. I will have a little drink of tea. Here we go. Bear with me on this because this is news from the UK comedy circuit. This week, a good friend of mine, I won't name him. Well, I say a good friend. I've known him for a long time and stuff like that, and I like him. And has been a victim. Well, not really a victim of cancel culture or whatever. But has had the witch hunt treatment. Now, what happened was my friend, colleague, associate, somebody from the Birmingham area, who will remain nameless. I don't think it's fair to name him anyway, but he's a nice guy. I've known him since I started stand up like 14 years ago, and I run into him every now and again. He's a great guy. He's an Asian comedian. I don't know if that matters. It probably does in this case, so I think. He was doing a show, an online show, which I have not done any online shows, but he was doing. He does puns and one-liners and shit like that. And I think they got given one of the things was like a poem thing or something like that. They had to do a poem online or whatever, and he came out with a questionable joke. Let's call it that. It's a questionable joke. It was something. It was like a rhyming couplet or something like that. And it ended with something. It ended with "What are you looking at, you stupid Jew?" or something like that, right? I think that's what I watched it. It's not something like that. It does end with like I can't remember what it rhymes with. He could have rhymed it with anything, other than Jew. Now, obviously, the Jewish communities of comedians, Jewish community of comedians, were in uproar about this, particularly people who are, like fucking banging on about Judaism all the time. Not that they shouldn't. They can bang on about it as much as they like, but it sometimes feels in situations like this, They were claiming it's anti-Semitic, it's against, it's a hate crime virtually against the Jewish people and all this sort of thing, and it was way over the top. The person who I know who said that is always been a nice guy. It was just a stupid joke, not particularly well thought through. It wasn't a brilliant thing. It's not the hill he wants to die on, and that sort of thing. To die on, really, that joke, but it was just a stupid little pun. There was no real hate behind it or anything like that. It was just, it was what it was. Not particularly great, but not particularly funny. Nobody was really laughing, but there was a big furore about it. And this guy is been a bit hounded on social media and the witch hunt and everything like that, right? That's what's happened. From my perspective, looking in, I never like any of that shit anyway, right? I never like any of that shit that goes on when there's a witch hunt or anything like that, because it's just a massive pile-on. Somebody plays the victim in this and takes it. There was a particular woman who took it upon herself to expose this and hound Love Dev as much as possible into basically I just said his name into apologizing for this, and then sort of like demanding an apology, and then rejected the apology afterwards, saying it wasn't her place to accept the apology, which is one of the most cunty fucking things you can do. I think it's one of the most, saying all that shit, getting other people involved, tagging people in the post and shit like that, causing a fucking storm out of it. Yes, it wasn't great, right? I'm not Jewish. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be able to tell who was Jewish or who wasn't. One of the people who I started off doing comedy with is Jewish, got a Jewish surname and all that sort of thing. Never clicked for me for years until he did material about being Jewish on stage. I couldn't give a fuck, to be honest. But obviously this lady was offended about it. There was other Jewish comedians who were offended about it, but sometimes they get offended because they've got a fucking, they've got a, they've got a dog in the race. They want something else out of it. And I know they're never going to admit that. And I know it sounds cynical, and they're never going to admit that they're doing it for reasons, either self-promotion or to be a victim, or just for the fucking sheer hell of making somebody feel shit and them looking self-righteous. They're never going to admit they're doing it for that. They probably don't even know they're doing it for that themselves. But that's the way it comes across from an outsider's perspective. And I know it's easy for me to say, I know I'm not Jewish. And I haven't, I don't, have anti-Semitism directed at me. But I don't know, man. From my perspective and what I know of this country, and having lived in this country for 44 years, I have seen a damn sight more racism towards Asian people than I have to Jewish people. And it just seemed to me, and this is only my opinion, it just seemed to me like it was white people having a go at an Asian guy, because they fucking could, and they escalated it, because it was almost like, in my head, like a reversal of sort of like regular racism, like white on like any other ethnicity racism. It was like that. It was as if they were trying to project this Asian comedian who I like, whose name I said earlier, as being as racist as that, which was not the case. It was just a stupid, ill thought through joke. It would have been missed if it wasn't for some fucking white knight fucking comedian on the actual show he was on, who has been exposed in the past for fucking stealing stuff from other acts whilst they were on stage. Yeah, that was skirted over when everybody was saying he was a fucking hero. And I don't know, man. It just, I can see where the woman was coming from. She's invested in that whole thing. It's like almost her whole identity is being a Jewish comedian. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough. She wants to portray that because she is that. That's okay. But it just seemed that she was championing a cause that could have just been nipped in the bud. And I think the whole thing about escalating it, and I just felt sorry for him. It felt like fucking bullying. It felt like white people bullying a fucking Asian person and saying, yeah, you see, you do it as well. It seemed like that to me. And I was very uncomfortable with it. And then the whole thing about not accepting the apology, that's a fucking cunt move. That is an absolute cunt move. That's why you don't apologize, because it's never fucking good enough, people. It's never fucking good enough. They're always going to keep hounding you. Then she could have been nice, fucking nice, and just gone, it's okay, in public, and said, I accept your apology. But no, I don't think it's my right to accept that. But it was your right to fucking hound him in the first place, was it? You fucking absolute cunt. Yeah. I just think some of the other comments and stuff like that, what people put on there, I've been guilty of being racist. If I see a black person, I will cross the street. Well, surely that comment's fucking worse than what the Jewish comment was, wasn't it? Because you're actually in public, but nobody picked him up for that. I just watch these sort of things from afar, people. And because if you get involved, you're just going to, it's just going to go on and on and on. People trying to cancel him from gigs, He's been doing it longer than they have. And they're trying to cancel him from gigs, lose work over it. Stupid joke. It was a very stupid joke. Not a great joke. Not particularly funny. Slightly retarded, which he'll probably agree with. But to have that sort of response, and then people, openly put in the comments like, as if they're fucking super woke. Oh, I acknowledge the fact that I crossed the street. Like if a black guy's walking towards me, well, why'd you do that? Do you not just, how much of a fucking pussy are you, first of all? And how prejudiced are you, secondly, that you would do that? I don't know, man. It's a disappointing thing. Everybody, they're all coming for somebody, man. They're all coming for somebody, and the thing is, one of my other mates stuck up for him publicly and things like that, and I thought it was great what he did. Another act from Birmingham who knows this other act quite well. I'm being vague, I know. Yeah, you can't, for somebody to be hounded and hounded and hounded like he was, and then somebody, the ironic, yeah, this is the ironic thing. He did end up giving money to a Jewish charity, which I don't know, the irony of the stereotype of Jewish people and doing that act was not lost on me. Not that I'm promoting those stereotypes, but I just thought it tickled me. I'm going to laugh at stuff like that, and you upset the Jewish community, and you ended up giving a donation of money to a Jewish charity. There's a certain amount of irony there. You use a Jewish, a bit of a slur against the Jews, and then end up paying them back in their own stereotype. What a better way to end that bit, dear. But yeah, it's just that whole cancel and hounding on the internet and that sort of thing. They're gonna come for all of us one day, baby. They're gonna come for all of us under the guise of doing good. That's the thing. They do it under the guise of doing good and doing something right, but they're not. They're fucking grinding for their own fucking ends and their own fucking cause and to get their own name out there a lot of the time. It seems that. It wasn't that bad. If somebody said to me, a stupid fucking white bloke or a stupid fucking, ended a joke like that, like a stupid pun with that, I wouldn't have it. Yes, I know about the Holocaust. Yes, I know that fucking somebody chucked him out of Egypt years ago. But in this country, I know people say anti-Semitism is on the rise and things like that. I don't know. I haven't experienced it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe people are using that to their own ends again. I don't know. That's by the by. That's not the point I'm making. But to hound somebody like that, who is an Asian guy who was possibly endured more prejudice in this fucking country than they could ever fucking tolerate, and then to hound somebody like that, I thought it was fucking disgraceful, and to not even accept the apology, I thought that was a fucking cunt's trick. When somebody's on the back foot and a genuinely nice guy and genuinely upset by it as well, and not just upset by the reaction, upset by what he said, and wasn't it was a spur of the moment thing, I think, as far as I was aware when I spoke to him. Anyway, big power to you, LD, and MG, who stuck up for him as well. Anyway, we are on 37 minutes, people. We went off track there a little bit, didn't we, baby? That was episode 197 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I will be back. If you want to message me, by the way, or abuse me at all, it is just podcast@benbriggs.co.uk. Do not throw me to the lions, even though I've been christened. I will be back on Saturday, motherfuckers. Have a good rest of your week. Be nice to people of all religious denominations and races and sexualities and whatever makes us different, abilities, disabilities, whatever. Show a bit of love out there this week, people. Okay, I'll be back Saturday. You take care.